Welcome back. This is the Series of Opinions podcast, episode number 28, Shipwrecked 3. We are three women discussing the best and worst of media and our opinions about them. I'm Faith.
I'm Moira.
And I'm KJ.
So, really quick to start off this week, I wanted to make a really quick corrections corner. Last week, on our host picks update, we did city names for what our names would be in a heist. And one of my names was Nova Scotia.
None of us called you on it.
And nobody called me out on that. So I just want everybody to know that I do in fact know that is not a city. For some reason my brain told me that name and I'm like, yeah, Nova, absolutely. That's cool. Let's write it down. Let's go for it. So I'm really embarrassed about that.
That is in fact a province.
That is in fact a province in Canada. Maybe it is a city somewhere, but it is a province. So whoopsies.
Cool name.
Out of all the city names in the world, I somehow accidentally chose a province and said it as a city name. So whoopsies. There's that. So let's get on to if anyone has any recommendations.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I have another TikTok recommendation.
Yay.
I'm spending a lot of time on TikTok. But I just wanted to recommend the account normalamanda_18. I'm gonna check out their two podcasts that they have, but she has the Skip to the Gay Parts podcast and the Luck We Had podcast.
Okay.
And, she's been rewatching Supernatural for Skip to the Gay Parts, and it's just been Destiel content.
Oh my gosh.
On her TikTok, and but she's been making some really good points, and just admiring different Destiel moments, and I've just been really enjoying her TikTok account.
Amazing.
So yeah, I recommend that you go and follow them.
Amazing. That's a good one.
Yeah. And I'm definitely going to be following Skip to the Gay Parts.
Yeah,
checking that out. That sounds like something I would enjoy.
It's a TikTok / podcast recommendation.
Yeah, it's both. I haven't listened to the podcast, but I'm sure it's good based on the TikTok content.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. I've been really busy this week, so I'm not really watching TV or anything, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I got it for sure. I have a couple. I've been watching a YouTuber. Her name is Gab Smolders, and I really like horror games, but only other people playing them. So fair. I've been really loving her YouTube videos this week. Just totally binging some of her old series, and I really like really, really long episodes. She has 2-hour episodes. I love it. So I've been watching a lot of her stuff. And then I also wanted to double down on my Big Brother Canada recommendation, because this season, I don't want to jinx anything, but it might be the best ever season of Big Brother Canada so far. It's so good. It's so good. Because usually, the good-looking people kind of just form a big alliance and then just, dominate the whole time because they're athletic and beautiful. But this year, it's totally different types of people are working together, and there's a big blind side this week.
It was so big that I texted Faith about it, and I don't even watch.
Yeah.
I was
See what was happening.
Heard that Big Brother Canada got really crazy this week. Tell me what happened.
It's literally the third eviction, and it's already because usually in Big Brother things don't actually happen that are dramatic and not unanimous until I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks in. So 3 weeks in and we're already blindsiding each other. It's so good. Oh my god, the drama is so good. So incredible. I'm so proud of it being Canadian. It's just so good. So definitely recommend that. And that's all. That's all I've got for this week.
Incredible. So I'm actually going to recommend an essay paper thing that I read for a class. It's called Laughter in the Labyrinth, Wilderness and Soul by Waylon Drew. And it's this discussion about wilderness and how as a technological society, we must find a way to coexist and help the wilderness without killing it. And I thought it was very, very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for recommending something that's educational.
Yes. We really have a well-rounded recommendations this week.
Yeah.
That's the joy of us. We're three individuals.
That's right.
Exactly.
And we all, you never know what we're gonna recommend that week for sure.
We have a lot of things in common, but there's a lot of things that the two of you were into that I've never even, like, thought to be into.
Yeah. Can you repeat the name of that one more time? I wrote down the first half and then not the second half.
Laughter in the Labyrinth, Wilderness and Soul.
Okay, got it. Okay, so like I said, we're doing our third episode, I guess, of Shipwrecked, the kind of series, I guess, where we talk about a couple that we are totally obsessed with. So I can start if you want.
Go ahead.
So my ship this week is Rebecca and Jack Pearson. I couldn't find if they actually have like an official like ship name. So I just Rebecca and Jack is what I'm gonna go with. I got a lot of
Googling while you talk.
Yeah, that's okay. Honestly, that's like my number one job on this pod is the side goog. So I wanted to give credit to two articles. One by Meki Shauna Pierre. So sorry if that's not how you say your first name. And Martha Soren. They have really awesome, like, comprehensive timelines of This Is Us events and events of, like, Jack and Rebecca's relationship, which is super, super, super helpful for this because, as you guys know, This Is Us can kind of, like, jump around as far as timelines go, and it's confusing to know when things happen and how many years in between things, so those articles were amazing. So my ship, of course, is from This Is Us. It consists of Rebecca Malone and Jack Pearson.
I literally forgot that that's what her maiden name was. Also, my side googling yielded no solid results.
Okay. So I didn't just miss it. There's no, like, actual official ship name, I guess. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I totally forgot that was her maiden name, too.
It's used so rarely, and her family sucks so much.
Literally. Literally. So they met December 23rd, 1972, which occurs, I guess, for the first time, I believe, in season 1, episode 18, Moonshadow. They meet at a dive bar. Rebecca winds up there after she ditches a boring blind date. She comes to the realization that she should be doing what she loves, which is singing. Jack ends up being at the same bar, ditching his own blind date to rob said bar.
I forgot about that part.
Right?
Oh my goodness.
But one look at Rebecca singing Moonshadow totally derails him. He pivots off what would probably have been a potential life of crime because he falls in love at first sight with Rebecca. They end up going on a horrible first date, which Jack saves in the end by telling her that she feels like home to him, and they have their first kiss. This occurs in season 3, episode 1, $9.
Jack is exactly like McDreamy from Grey's Anatomy in that it doesn't matter how badly things go, he will say the perfect thing.
Oh my gosh.
Jackson Avery does the same thing too. The men of Grey's, like, if it wasn't for words, they'd be screwed.
Because they can always have a nice, like, little speech, heartfelt moment at the end and totally save it.
All of the Pearsons have inherited this ability, even Randall, who's adopted, but, like, it comes from Jack.
Totally.
Rebecca gets it, but, like, everybody gets it from Jack somehow.
You just pick up that skill from being around him.
Just say the perfect thing. Have this, like, speech moment.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, man.
I wonder if he, like, thinks up these things, like, beforehand and then, like, has it in his pocket.
I don't think he can. I think that they just are off the cuff.
So beautiful. The things that he says to her, just, like, my heart just explodes.
How could you predict half these situations?
True. So true.
I'll be 11 for you? Like, you couldn't have predicted that Rebecca was going to come in with this numbering scale.
Yeah, true. So Jack and Rebecca then take a road trip to Los Angeles. This is not just any road trip, it's like the road trip. After like a week of knowing each other, they decide to drive across the country together. Rebecca learns about Jack's PTSD, and Jack calls Rebecca Beck for the first time.
Oh, so cute.
Oh. And Rebecca decides that she wants to be wherever Jack is. She makes him cry for the first time in a long time by singing to him in the car. Oh my gosh, I forgot to write down the episode of that, but so sorry. I don't remember.
Season 2 or 3.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. I think maybe 3, but okay. So sorry about that. So they get married in 1976 at City Hall. They say their I do's in front of family and friends. It's full of flower crowns and beautiful vows that make you believe in true love. So freaking cute. This is season 1, episode 14, I Call Marriage. January 1980, thanks to the Pittsburgh Steelers' big Super Bowl win in 1980. That was a really weird sentence coming out of my mouth.
There's a lot of Super Bowl and This Is Us. A lot.
A lot.
A surprising amount.
Goodness.
So thanks to this Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl win in 1980, they unknowingly conceived their triplets in the bar bathroom.
Yep. Where you conceived the triplets know to,
Yes.
They know exactly when and exactly what day and exactly which bathroom.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Yep.
I can't even imagine knowing that. It's so weird. I don't know if I'd want to know.
Parents of us, please don't tell us.
Please don't know. I don't want to know. August 31st, 1980. Happy 36th birthday to Jack, and also welcome to the world, Big 3.
Oh, the big 3.
It includes a roller coaster of emotions in experiencing both the elation of the birth of the children and then also the terrible loss of losing one of the triplets, and then the hopefulness of finding baby Randall in need of a family. And
what a wild thing to do. Every time I think about this show, I think what a wild thing. They were having triplets. One is stillborn. And they're like, you know what? We were really set on having 3 kids. Let's just take this orphan.
Yeah. I mean,
3
losing
children,
a child.
3 newborn babies.
Right? And you lose one and you're like, yeah, let's bump it back up to 3. And
that is so
take
much.
this poor I guess they assume orphaned baby that, I mean, it's just like the chances of all this stuff happening.
And then you decide to go through with that. That's a big commitment to make. I mean, having any children is a big commitment to make. And then, like, you already had 3, lost one already on day 1. And you're like, but we can still do 3.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Jack is so hopeful for their future. I mean, he's right, and it pays off for them big. They have a beautiful family.
Absolutely.
But, like, oh my god, a man with dreams. No fear, apparently.
I mean, really.
No wonder Rebecca was, like, hesitant.
I know. She's always the one that's like, are you sure? Like, for real? So, jumping a little bit, early to mid-80s, they officially adopt Randall. Such a cute episode where they cut and paste, like, the family photo together. So
oh my
cute.
god, I love that
adorable.
so much.
Yeah, I skipped a little bit about the big 3 because it's supposed to be about Jack and Rebecca, so...
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay.
And then, so the big fight between them occurs in 1997. The season 1 finale shows Jack breaking his sobriety and then fighting with Rebecca's fellow bandmate after he finds out that the two of them used to date. Rebecca drives Jack home from her gig, and the two get into a huge fight, venting years of frustration about failed dreams, child-raising struggles, and marital frustrations. Rebecca eventually suggests that the two separate for a little bit, and Jack leaves for Miguel's house. Only a few hours later, which happens in the season 2 premiere, she ends up driving to Miguel's to work things out. Jack confesses his drinking problem has returned, and Rebecca promises that they can make it through together. Jack then starts going to AA with Rebecca's support. And I didn't realize that it was like only a matter of hours.
Yeah, it was short. It was really short.
When they decide to separate, and then she goes to Miguel's and says, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, it was the same night.
It's probably a situation of Jack saving it with the stuff that he says at the end. Like,
I mean, a little bit, and I think also, like, you know, like, they were just, like, in the heat of the moment, in the heat of a fight. Like, they just needed a couple of hours to, like, calm down and think about it, and then, like...
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, Jack's, like, a war vet. Like, he has some PTSD, and he's,
totally.
in an unhappy... Like, a job he doesn't super love, and, like, a hard job, and they've got 3 kids that are all the exact same age, so, like, every stress at every age, like, every individual age, like, all 3 kids hit it at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
you're raising 3 toddlers at the same time.
3 newborns, 3 toddlers, 3 teenagers. Oh, all 3 of your kids are gonna go to college on the same year. Like,
oh my gosh, the financial stress, I can't even imagine.
Honestly, like, the financial stress of sending any 3 kids to college is like insane, but like the fact that like if all of it's gonna happen on the same
exact
same time is like I mean, I think Randall is the only one that actually goes to college in the first year anyways, but they didn't know that. That wasn't the plan.
Yeah, they still had to, like, prepare for them all three going at the same time.
If it hadn't been for, like, how Jack's whole, like, situation worked out, like, they all would have. They were all on track to.
Oh, yeah, and that's actually a good thing for you to kind of tiptoe around. I am about to spoil major death in This Is Us, so if you haven't seen This Is Us and you don't want that spoiled, and you don't know about the major death in the show...
skip ahead to the next ship.
Yeah, skip, like, 13 minutes. How about... So that brings us then... Okay, so the big fight happens in 1997, and then just a year later in 1998, after Super Bowl 32, I think, the Pearson family house catches fire because of a dish towel next to a faulty slow cooker. Not a crock pot, it's a slow cooker. All the commercials and, like, not commercials, but, like, little videos about that is so funny. At the time,
to do a promo with crockpot.
to make the fans, like, calm down about throwing out their crock pots. So, yeah. I mean, to be fair, we knew that Jack died in season 1. That was a season 1 reveal, and then we didn't know how until, like, mid-season 2. Exactly. Yeah. So, I think everyone who, like, knows about the show knows that he dies, but it's a big, like, emotional... And it hurt. It hurts so bad. Oh, my gosh. Like, this episode aired right after the Super Bowl, too. Like, the episode took place the night after the Super Bowl, and it aired the night after a Super Bowl. It was, like, the night of a Super Bowl. It was crazy. I remember the Super Bowl went into, like, overtime, and the episode got, like, delayed by half an hour. Way to, like, rip out people's hearts. But I was sitting there, like, I don't give a shit about football, but I can't turn this off because This Is Us is gonna start, and tonight's the night we find out. Oh, goodness. Yeah, okay. So the fire starts. Jack braves the fire to get Rebecca, Randall, and Kate to safety, and then he goes back in to save Louie, their rescue dog. Though he manages to escape the house at the very last minute, he suffers second-degree burns and bad smoke inhalation at the hospital while Rebecca is on the phone checking up on the kids. Jack goes into cardiac arrest due to stress on his heart from the smoke, and he dies. It is devastating. It's really awful, and she's eating a chocolate bar while it happens, and she doesn't believe it, and he was fine 2 minutes ago, and he ran into a fire twice, and everyone's fine, and the kids are fine, and in reading, like, not Easter eggs, but, like, little subtle moments, there's a moment when she's out in the waiting room, and you can hear him call her name, and she looks, but I think just, like, subconsciously almost, like, hears it, but then doesn't, like, think anything of it and continues, and then you find out later that that's, like, the moment that he died. Oh my god. Yeah, like... Oh, so horrendous. So that's kind of the end of their story together. But their hardships include losing, of course, the third triplet, financial struggles, Jack trying to get his company Big Three Homes off the ground. Jack's sobriety, of course, is a big obstacle, I guess, for them through their relationship. Rebecca wanting to sing again is a big thing that they kind of go back and forth about. And then, of course, like we mentioned, like, the whole raising triplets thing is so and the kids all have their own issues and things that they're dealing with. Like, exactly. That they struggle with, that they're trying to support, and, like, their own dreams and stuff that they're trying to get the kids with. And and trying to build relationships with all three of them and raise them and support each of them, even though they're all, like, so incredibly different. Yeah, they got, like, 3 so different kids, and I'm so glad they all get along now. Like, for the most part. Yeah, for the most part. So why they're a great ship? I think that they put their commitment to one another and their family before their personal opportunities / dreams at the end of the day. Whether it was Jack hoping to get out of a desk job or Beck wanting to travel on the road as a singer, at the end of the day, they do put their family and each other above everything, and I think that's why their family and their relationship is so beautiful and strong. Their love for each other, of course, is just so pure. I think it's just such a dream. Like, their whole love at first sight kind of story, and from that very moment, Jack decides, like, this is well, that's just it. Like, she's just the one, and
whatever
that's
needs to
all
happen
it's ever
is gonna
be.
happen.
Exactly. Like, there was never any other option for him. It was always just from the second that he saw her, like, he decided that was going to be the one.
Yep, this is my wife now.
Yes, exactly. It was just a total gut feeling for each other. Soulmates, if you will. Sorry, Ellen. I can't even write that word anymore without thinking of Ellen just, ugh.
No, I actually do believe in, like, what's it, like, called the theory of, like,
proximity
theory. Science says that that's it. Like, you're so much statistically higher to, like, likely to end up with someone that you work with or, like, go to school with or, like, you know, see on a regular basis, like, or, like, meet their work. Like, that's just statistically that's just, like, the most likely way that you're gonna partner up in adulthood.
Yes.
It's like through your employment or, you know, somewhere else they have to go. I mean, that could definitely change as we move more and more into this, like, digital work from home era. Like, that's going to have to change by necessity.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But based on current and, like, the last 4 or 5 decades, that's just how it be.
No, it does make sense. For anybody who doesn't know, we're kind of talking about Ellen Marsh's kind of hatred towards soulmates. And then she brought up the proximity theory, which was like the first time that I heard about it, obviously. I don't know about KJ, but it's the first time that I heard that. And yeah, that's her theory, is that there's no actual soulmates. You're just, like, destined to...
I take a lot of courses involving social sciences.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But back to love at first sight.
Yeah. This is a shining example of it. Oh my god, they are so perfect. I love them so much.
They're total soulmates. Even if it's not real in the real world, they have this gut feeling for each other. They're just absolutely drawn to each other. The grand gestures of it all is so beautiful. The stuff that they do for each other, that Jack does for her. All the anniversary presents and all his speeches and everything, so beautiful. Of course, the romance of it all, I think it's just, like, every person's dream to be treated like they treat each other and how they look at each other. And, of course, like I said, it always comes back to their love for each other and their family and wanting to put that first above everything else. Yeah. And that's why I think their relationship is so strong and their family is so full of love and just so beautiful. And that's the story of Rebecca and Jack Pearson.
I want to have a moment for Rebecca and Jack Pearson and just talk about the Thanksgiving episode.
Yes, for sure.
Just, like, I think, like, that's an episode that really strongly embodies everything that you just talked about.
Exactly, totally.
Where they're, like, on their way to go, like, see Rebecca's parents for Thanksgiving, and, like, it's clear that she is so stressed about, like, having the sauce right, and then, like, the kids knock over the sauce, and, like, she just, like, is really upset about it, and, like, it's very clear that none of them want to go. The kids don't want to go. Rebecca is really stressed about going.
Yeah, Jack's super doesn't want to go.
Jack's like, okay, like, we're gonna go because it's Thanksgiving, it's your family, and, like, I don't have a family to go to, so we need to keep up your relationship. And then, like, as soon as things go wrong, he's just like, you know what? We never need to go. We are never gonna... It's, like, Rebecca calls her parents, and they, like, blow her off, and that's awful. They left 3 kids just out in the woods, like...
Oh, yeah.
Like, and she's just like, we're never going. And Jack's like, fine, we're never going. That's okay. Like, we're gonna have the worst, best Thanksgiving ever.
Yeah, we are all we need. We only need each other.
And they, like, totally just turn this horrible situation around and, like, make it a fun day for the kids, even though it was previously awful.
Exactly. And it creates this beautiful, like, tradition so that every year they think of that, like, fun part of the Thanksgiving rather than, like, we have to go to grandma's, like, and hating.
Yeah, they end up making new traditions from this horrible day that, like, they continue to, like Rebecca's, like, grandkids.
Exactly.
And I love it so much. And, like, the way that the two of them are just like, you know what, this has been a horrible day, we're just gonna make this a good day anyways.
Exactly.
It's so good.
It's such a beautiful show, and the way that they write them, all of them,
the writing is gorgeous. I hope
beautiful.
All of these writers from the show go on and just, like, spread out into the TV world, because we need more of them in TV, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
So good.
It's so good. I mean, it's so good to the point where, like, I have to take breaks because it's so emotionally taxing to watch that show.
Long hiatus from This Is Us, and I rewatched season
same.
1, and like I'm working my way back up to where I stopped because I really do want to finish and find out how the whole thing ends because it's just so beautifully done.
Oh, it's such a good show.
Every time I see an occasional spoiler now, I'm not even mad about it anymore. I'm just like,
I know.
oh, I'm so glad that this person's having a good season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great.
So next is Moira, I think. Who are you going to be talking about?
So I'm going to be talking about the relationship between Captain Raymond Holt and Professor Kevin Cozner from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I almost did this and then decided not to, and I
That's amazing.
was equal parts excited and upset when I saw that you had done it. Also, I did not remember that Kevin's last name was Cozner.
I had to look that up for sure. Yeah. I don't have a ton of history on them because their relationship isn't always the main focus, so only have a little bit, so I'm just going to talk about like a little bit about each of them and then my favorite like moments and stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah. So they are a recently married couple who have been together since the 1970s when Kevin had interviewed Holt for an article that was going to be in the New Yorker. If they do ever do a spin-off of the show, I want it to be them in the 70s.
Oh my god!
I
What a good
want
idea.
that so bad.
When were Hitchcock and Scully hot and like active? Is that
think
also the 70s?
Around that time. Can we
I
just
want
have
that. I want that. I want Hitchcock and
Right?
Scully and Kevin and Ray.
Yeah, that's just my goals for life right now. Like, that would be great. So, Raymond is, like, the one that's more present in the series. He's referred to as Holt often, so I'm gonna probably switch into that.
Yeah.
So he's, like, outwardly, like, very strict and, like, stoic and stuff, but he's very also warm and empathetic, and he likes to play pranks on people and do all these competitions. So, like, my best description is that he's the pettiest drama queen ever who never stops being, like, have this emotionless face. And I adore it so much. And then Kevin is, like, very, like, a quiet, serious, like, intellectual. He is the head of the classics department at Columbia University. A lot of people think he's a snob, but he, like, does soften up and he, like, plays pranks on his husband with Jake and stuff, and he and Gina have a good relationship, which I think is very cute.
Of all the people that have a good relationship with Kevin, I'm so equal parts shocked and unsurprised that it is Gina.
Yeah, I miss Gina.
Me too. Chelsea Peretti, come back.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So, like, some of my favorite moments between them is in an episode called Two Turkeys, where Kevin and Holt drive upstate every year in order to get an English walnut pie. And then in the episode, the pie goes missing, and Holt interrogates everyone, trying to find out who stole their pie. Reminder that this is happening in a police station, which is so funny. It's great. He later finds out that Kevin was the one who got rid of the pie because he actually hates the pie. And so then Kevin says, like, he didn't want to tell Holt that he didn't like the pie because Holt enjoyed it so much, and he really enjoyed their, like, super long silent drive up to get the pie. And so they decide that they're going to drive up each year without actually getting the pie. And
Aww.
Kevin says that he likes the idea of going on a trip with no purpose. And I think it's so cute.
I like that so much.
That they just want to sit quietly in the car together.
Yeah,
So
just
cute.
be together for no reason, like no
And
actual
not
place
talk,
to go.
just drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
They have
like
a car.
that.
They really love their car too. So like,
Yes.
it's them and the car.
Yes.
Oh, I
now
love
I want
that.
to talk about Gertie, the car. Because it's a whole plot point. She's her own character.
Mm-hmm.
So when they first started dating in the 70s, Kevin was teaching at a college that was 2 hours away by bus or train. And Holt tells them that it's only 30 minutes by car, but he didn't want to invest in a car because he was nervous that it wouldn't work out between him and Kevin. So one time Kevin shows up at Holt's place with Gertie, the car, and he, like, Holt is like, says that he's very happy and grateful that Kevin took that leap and was sad that he didn't get to do it first in order to have the car. And I think that's very cute.
And they still have that car like 40 years later.
Yeah,
Aww.
it still has the car. The car got destroyed in a couple seasons, so they got a replacement, one that looks like it, and it's called Sexarella. And I love it so much. Like the two like old men with the like most deadpan faces and like no, people think they're emotionless half the time. And yeah. Another moment that I think is super cute that they, like, the writers added into the story. So, like, Amy asked Terry to paint a portrait of Raymond for him because he doesn't seem to like the photo that was taken of him and he had it thrown out. Later, she finds out that he actually didn't want the picture because he felt that he had earned a place on the wall in his captain uniform and he didn't want it. But he later takes the portrait that was painted for him and says that Kevin has always wanted a picture of him smiling. And in later episodes, we get to see that painting in Kevin's office.
Oh,
It's so cute.
They are so sweet. They're so cute.
I love this couple so much, and I'm excited for them to be back in the new season.
Amazing. That was so good.
Sorry to keep doing this. Again, this week I think I'm still the only person that's watched all 3 of these shows.
Yeah.
I've just watched everything, okay? I just want to add a Kevin and Raymond moment that I love so much. It's really short, but it's a flashback. I think it's when Jake and Amy got married. They told, or maybe it was when somebody was getting married. Maybe it was Charles and
I think it was
parents.
the Boyle Linetti wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, someone was getting married and they asked about Kevin and Holt's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they couldn't get married until gay marriage was legal in their state.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had a really, really quick, like super quick, like they were interrupting the officiant to get it done quickly because they didn't know if it was going to get overturned.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just wanted to get married super duper quick while they still could.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And then there's a whole joke about how they wish that the officiant had been more efficient, and it was
So freaking
I'm
cute.
gonna insert that joke here.
I remarked afterwards that I wish the officiant had been more efficient. It was very funny.
Honestly.
I like that so much.
It is so cute, and I just love that so much. And then they're like, well, we kind of wish that we could have a wedding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they do that eventually.
Yeah,
Like,
they've been
kinda just
talking
left
about
that.
it, and they never followed through. But whenever they told that story, they kind of thought about like having another wedding where they could have like friends and family and stuff because they didn't have that before.
Mm-hmm. Which I think would be so cute. Like, and that was such a sweet moment.
Honestly, it was so good. And like, oh, they just love each other so much.
Yeah. You can just feel the love between them, which is super great.
I've only seen a couple episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I definitely want to watch it all the way through, if for nothing else, for those two. That's so cute.
I mean, you will fall in love with Jake and Amy.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I definitely have to watch more. But I've definitely enjoyed what I've seen, so
Yay.
great show for sure. KJ,
Yes.
wanna wrap us up? Who have you got this week?
It's gonna be a long wrap up.
Okay, well,
The ultimate ship.
yeah, start driving us towards that direction anyways.
So I'm doing Topanga, Cory Matthews, and Topanga Lawrence from Boy Meets World and Girl Meets World. They're 2 shows worth of content. So Boy Meets World was on from 1993 to 2005, and Girl Meets World ran from 2014 to 2017. So I had lots of content because they are the main ship in the show.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, I mean, really leads up to their relationship. It's really all about them. So Topanga technically began before the show's timeline, back when Cory and Topanga were babies in approximately 1980-1981, according to Wiki. Thank you to the Boy Meets World Wiki fandom page. Fandom.com really saves our lives again.
Fandom.com, the hero of the pod.
They didn't have as much Girl Meets World content, so a lot of mine is Boy Meets World content because they had a very comprehensive breakdown of their relationship on Boy Meets World.
I love that.
So thanks for that, everybody who contributed to that. So they lived nearby one another, like in the same kind of neighborhood, and their moms would like have them play together, like from like as early as like 8 months old, and like they were best friends as like 2-year-olds. By the time they were 2, they were like inseparable. They then met Cory's future best friend Sean on a field trip to the zoo in kindergarten, and allegedly were literally inseparable from one another into like the 1st grade. Like they tell a story about how their teacher tried to like move their desks apart, and one of them bit him.
Oh my god.
They would not be separated.
Aww.
Cory then, shortly after that, became a middle child. His parents had another child, and he became the middle child, and he felt really neglected by his very busy parents. And his older brother, Eric, who's a bit of an asshole sometimes, was like making fun of him for being best friends with a girl. So Cory pretended that he didn't like Topanga anymore to seem cool to his older brother because he was starved for affection. His parents are such good parents. I'm so sad that Cory has middle child syndrome because Alan and Amy are lovely people and they definitely love all of their children equally. Topanga's parents were a little bit hippy-dippy, hence, you know, the fact that they named their daughter Topanga. Topanga really embraced her unique sense of self, so while Cory and Sean stayed best friends, they really made fun of her weirdness, which mostly seemed to not bother Topanga, which, like, good for her. I'd be super upset. They were really mean to her for a couple of years. The way that, like, preteen and like childhood boys can really only be so terrible. Cory later refers to this time as the lost years. In 6th grade, they were paired by their teacher, Mr. Feeney, to do a project, and Topanga does this incredible interpretive performance while Cory reads a poem about the ozone layer, which involved putting lipstick all over her face like a little weirdo. And Cory's not really into this performance, but they have a really meaningful conversation about Cory just wants to blend in at school. Like, Cory's thing for a long time in the early seasons of Boy Meets World is that he really just wants to fit in. He has this like curly hair that it was not conducive to the early to mid 90s styles that were popular at the time. Ryder Strong as Sean Hunter, Cory's best friend, was like an iconic look for the 90s. Like that.
Yes.
It was like it was almost as iconic as like the Rachel.
Yeah.
Like it was like you probably could have gone to a hairdresser and be like, I want the Sean. And they would have probably known what you friggin' meant, honestly. He was not allowed to cut his hair like the entire show. Cory attempts to straighten his hair and it does not go well. It really screws up his hair. Even though his hair looks really bad, Topanga takes advantage of Cory being handcuffed to a locker in a school protest to kiss him, and they have their first kiss. She says that she wanted him to have his first kiss when he thought that he looked weird, so that he would always look back on the moment, remember that it was what was on the inside that mattered, which is so insightful for like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
She's like, when you look back on this moment when we're adults, like, I just want you to remember that you had your first kiss because you were a good person and not because you looked good.
Aww.
Imagine. What a cute thing.
After that, Cory and Sean keep making fun of her, but she starts to dish it back to them a little bit, and it's like more fun and less malicious. It's more friendly between them. There's a really awkward period of time where Topanga had a brief crush on Cory's older brother Eric, who was considered to be very good looking and popular with the girls at his school. Eric's either super popular with the ladies or not at all popular with the ladies. He doesn't have an in-between.
Yeah.
But yeah, Topanga has a crush on him for a little while, and this leads Cory to be very confused because he doesn't really feel like he's ready to have a crush on anyone, and like lots of the other kids have crushes, and he's also really uncomfortable that Topanga has a crush on his brother because he kind of likes her, but he doesn't really know, and everyone just left the situation uncomfortable. Topanga left the situation uncomfortable when Eric like let her down. Eric was uncomfortable that this 12-year-old had a crush on him. Cory was uncomfortable by this whole thing. Everyone was uncomfortable. They were assigned for another couple more school projects together / in proximity to one another that helped reestablish their friendship. Cory asks her out on a date, but then cancels because he's not ready to start dating yet, and they end up having a really fun day playing sock basketball in his living room. It's super iconic. They're just like goofing around in his living room like little kids because they're kids. They're like 12.
Yeah.
And then over the summer, they hang out a whole bunch with Sean, and then they start grade 7 at their new school. They go to high school in grade 7.
And so did we.
Yeah, so did we. Yeah. That's not really the norm, but it was for us as well. Cory tries asking Topanga out because other kids are now dating, but she turns him down. But they still have their second kiss with each other on Halloween. They have like a really sweet moment on Halloween. And I remember almost putting in my notes what Topanga was dressed as, but now I can't remember. Oh, she was a damsel, but one that wasn't in distress.
Oh, I love that.
I was like, it was something good, and I meant to write it in here because it was really funny. And then I think I took it out of my notes. But yeah, she was a damsel, but wasn't in distress.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I love that so much.
Things really got like ramped up in their relationship when they were assigned to do a project together on love, sex, and slander, which led to some serious slander after they were discovered having fallen asleep in a remote part of the school together and staying there overnight. Like, they both fell asleep and forgot to go home, and then they're found there together in the morning.
Yeah.
Cory initially enjoyed the admiration of his peers because, you know, they all assumed assume that something happened. Again, they're in like 7th grade.
They're infants.
Yeah.
But
But when he saw that Topanga was upset by the rumors, he worked to publicly set the record straight that nothing happened between them and that they were just friends. Then there's a school dance that comes up, and Cory recognizes that because of the recent sleeping at school together incident, he should try and take somebody else, even though Topanga would go with him if he asked. Like, you know, like they're kind of each other's like go-to like backup date when they don't have a date. And he's like, well, I could ask her and she would definitely say yes, but like we just had this whole scandal go down, and so like maybe for her I should try and ask someone else. Somebody else asked Topanga, and she says that she has to check with Cory, and she makes sure that he's not going to ask her before she accepts the invitation with the other guy.
That's so cute.
Like, she's just like, somebody asked me, and like I'll go with him, but like if you want to go, then I'll go with you. Like, I just want to make sure that you don't
make sure that you're good.
that you don't want to ask me, but I'm like so that I can make a choice. And then there's some hijinks, and because of that hijinks, Cory and Sean embarrass themselves at the school dance, but Topanga stays behind afterwards to tell Cory that she thought that he was really cute, and they almost have a private dance together, but then the tape in the tape deck was the name game, which is not something you can dance to. Back in the 90s, apparently there were makeout parties, which, you know, you specifically like went to. I don't know, maybe I just had a really boring high school experience. We didn't have makeout parties.
No, I have never heard of that in my life.
It seems like it's a TV thing, but you know, if you went to makeout parties in high school, like for real, I mean, just let us know. We want to know about your fun makeout party stories. Yeah. Is it like on Riverdale and
were you all like hot and ripped, or
honestly, just like was this a thing that was happening? But anyway, so Cory and Topanga end up in the closet for 7 minutes in heaven, and right before the party, Eric, Cory's asshole big brother, I swear Eric's actually really nice guy. He just like all big brothers, you know, gets a little bit of pleasure out of you know tormenting his younger siblings sometimes.
Exactly.
He had shaken Cory's confidence before the party, and he ended up being too shy to make out with Topanga in the closet. They almost kiss, but then they run out of time, and there's some like backlash at school where they're making fun of him because of it. And then later they go out together because Eric's parents are like, you have to make this right and help your brother. And so they go out together and they kiss at a poetry reading. Eric intentionally takes them somewhere that they're not going to want to kiss. And then it turns out that a poetry reading is actually the perfect place to kiss. And everybody starts doing it, but they have a kiss there. Topanga admits that she likes Cory, but he chickens out on telling her back. And then over the next summer, his feelings for her develop into like a full-blown crush. He tries to ask her out a few times, but he can't bring himself to actually do it. And then finds out that his best friend Sean asked her to go to the makeout movies, which is a whole event. Where they're showing a movie, and like it's a school sanctioned like movie event, but everyone's like, it's the makeout movies. Everyone's actually going to make out in the dark. Cory gets really upset, and he invites Topanga's best friend, Trini, who Cory doesn't like at all. But once they get to the movie, Cory backs out of his date, and Trini and Sean reveal that they orchestrated this whole thing to get their best friends together, and Cory and to force them to admit their feelings for one another, and they decide to become boyfriend and girlfriend. Cory tells Topanga that he loves her pretty early on in their relationship, surprisingly early on in their relationship. Topanga is not receptive to the information at all. She avoids and ignores him for like a while, and when they do talk, she breaks up with him, which shocks Cory. He is shocked. He then goes to her house and tells her again that he loves her, and she says she doesn't know what that means. She's like, we're too young to even know what love is, and he's like, well, this is what it means to me, and it helps her to overcome her anxiety about it, and she ends up saying it back to him, and they're in love. It's so cute, honestly. Their relationship falls into a bit of a rut when they go out, so they decide that they're going to go out separately, like with friends and stuff, because they've been staying at home like they're 90-year-olds. And they're like 8th or 9th grade. They end up at the same party pretending to be totally different people. I think Cory was pretending to be Sean, and Topanga was pretending to be like a French exchange student or something. They both decide that the best thing to do would be to break up and stay friends, because if they just keep going like this, they're not gonna even like each other anymore. And then they both decide to run back and undo the decision, but they both miss each other when they do that. So they stay broken up for a bit.
Sad.
Some time passes, and then Topanga wins a trip to Disney World, and Cory decides that he's gonna go there and win her back.
My dream!
She overhears him talking to a dolphin about his feelings for her and agrees to get back together with him. He starts talking to a depressed dolphin, and he helps the dolphin. He befriends the dolphin, and she overhears it, and she's like, yes, I love this boy. They stay together into the next season where they turn 16. Topanga's parents decide to move, and Cory wants Topanga to marry him and stay. They're 16.
Oh my gosh.
Topanga says that they can't do that, but they agree to write to each other and visit one another often. Topanga goes to Pittsburgh with her parents, but then she runs away and comes back to Cory and shows up at his house. Cory's parents talk to Topanga's parents and aunt, and her aunt agrees that Topanga can stay with her for the rest of high school so that they can, like, stay together and she can, like, be with her friends and everything. I'm sure there was, if I remember correctly, Topanga made up some other reason that wasn't Cory, but, like, so that her parents and her aunt would go for it.
Yeah.
In season 5, they're still going strong despite being very different from one another. They gave one another promise rings and agreed to keep learning more about one another because they realize that there's, like, lots that they don't know about each other. And they both have promise rings that they wear, which is really cute. Cory was initially, like, reluctant to actually wear his because, you know, men and jewelry in the 90s. But he comes around and it's really sweet. And then things took a sharp right/left turn. Whichever way is bad. Whichever direction the turn is not the good turn.
We were going sharp in that direction.
Sharply there. So on a ski vacation, Cory meets another girl, Lauren, and they end up staying up all night talking, and she kisses him. Topanga finds out and is understandably very upset about it. They break up, but they both realize that they aren't happy without each other, and they don't find satisfaction with other prospective partners, so they get back together. But it took a while for that to all work itself out. It was very upsetting.
It was awful.
So they go to prom together, and they decide they're gonna have sex, but their plans are interrupted, and they decide to wait. A whole series of crazy random events happen, including Cory's parents being at the same hotel, and
whoa.
Cory's dad ends up with Cory's room key, and he walks in on Topanga.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so it was very... And then found out that Cory's parents are expecting another child.
Oh boy.
The whole thing. Yeah, the mood was shifted away from sex at that point. Cory is the middle of their children, and he was graduating high school. He was going to senior prom when he found out that his parents were having another baby. They had a late in life pregnancy.
Yeah, that'll kill the mood for sure.
They're like, oh, okay, we're having a family moment instead. Topanga is a straight-A student, and she is accepted into Yale, as well as being their class valedictorian. She has reservations about being away from Cory, even though Cory wants her to go to Yale and be successful. Topanga has this whole struggle about whether or not she's going to go, and she's basically told, unless you can think of a good reason not to go, you should go. Obviously, it's Yale. At their high school graduation, Topanga proposes to Cory.
Oh,
it's so cute. Everyone's really upset that Cory and Topanga are engaged, and they almost elope so that their parents won't be able to keep fighting about it. Initially, it was Cory who had really cold feet about the wedding. Like, he said, yes, I want to marry you, but then she wanted to get married right away, and he was like, hang on, like, we just graduated like 2 minutes ago, and you just proposed. Can we think about this? But then, you know, their parents are really mad about it, so they decide to elope, and he says, I do, only for Topanga to back out. And once they decide not to get married right away, they work things out with Cory's family, and he proposes to her with his great-grandmother's engagement ring with the blessing of his family. We don't really care about Topanga's family that much. The show's about Cory and his family, so.
Yeah.
They both decide to go to Pembroke College, which is the local college where Cory's older brother Eric was already a student, and Sean's girlfriend Angela are already going there as well. They realize that there's a lot more to know about one another, even still, after all of these years. They move in together for one night, and they realize that they are going to have to make a lot of adjustments in order to make it work. They do not have super compatible living styles at first. They have a really pretty serious fight on Valentine's Day when Cory's mom goes into premature labor with his younger brother. Cory's really upset that his plans with Topanga, with their first, like, Valentine's as an engaged couple, falls through because of all of this. And Topanga's upset because Cory wants her to magically make things better, and he believes that she can, and she's like, there's nothing I can do. This is a serious medical situation, and I can't help you. And Cory ends up confronting his insecurities in their relationship, and Topanga's reminded that she used to believe in energies and magic, and she's really glad that he remembers that side of her. And things are going really good for a bit, and then Topanga's parents get divorced, and this impacts Topanga really deeply. Like, while Cory and Topanga are planning their wedding, she finds out her parents divorced, and so she spends the summer away with her family, and when she returns, she doesn't want to get married anymore because she's seen what happens when you get unmarried. And she ends their relationship, but is really hurt when Cory stops trying to win her back and tries to move on with his life. And Topanga eventually decides that the possibility of being hurt in the future is less painful than the hurt that she feels right now without Cory. And she goes to Cory and they repair their relationship. They get married in the episode It's About Time. And there's lots of wedding shenanigans. But specifically, Cory's older brother Eric, once again, his shenanigans get them arrested before they can have their wedding night. So, you know, it's a whole wedding. Their wedding is so cute. I'm a little bit annoyed that they made it so funny. You know, like, I would have liked to have had a little bit more of a serious moment. Like, there's a whole moment where, like, Topanga's saying her vows and the camera pans over and Sean and Cory are, like, hugging each other because they had a huge fight because Sean's like, we're not going to be best friends anymore because you're going to be married and obviously your wife has to be your best friend. That's the rules. After their honeymoon, they move into the couples dorms together because they're still in college, which are not great. The couples dorms apparently suck. They struggle a lot because they can't afford to move into a house, but Cory ends up fixing up the apartment, so it's not as bad. But there's a few episodes where they're, like, really miserable and they regret getting married a little bit. Not because they don't love each other, but just because their living situation sucks.
Yeah.
And then Topanga is offered a job in New York, and they decide to move, even though their, like, families are in Philadelphia. Eric and Sean also decide to go with them to New York. Her job is with Elliott Brown in Montgomery, and she ends up going to NYU on a full scholarship. It's really unclear how her job works. Yeah. She's offered this job while she's in the middle/end of her undergrad. And then she gets offered this job, and then that job pays for her to go to law school. That's how, like, amazing she apparently is.
Wow.
So then 12 to 15 years pass between Boy Meets World and Girl Meets World. Like, Boy Meets World ends with them moving away. And then in Girl Meets World, we find out that Topanga went to law school and she finished her Pembroke degree via correspondence while she was pregnant with her first child. She earned a degree in political science as a new mom, and then she, like, focused on finishing up her law degree, again, as a new parent.
Amazing.
Cory is now a middle school history teacher, and Topanga's a lawyer and a junior partner at her firm, which is incredible. They have 2 kids, Riley, who is 12 and is in Cory's class with her friends, and Augie, who is 5. They have a very full life together and are still very much in love. Topanga and Cory end up investing in a local bakery together to help save it, and then when the owner dies, she leaves it to Topanga, who renovates it and renames it Topanga's. It keeps its, like, mom and pop feel, and it's, like, a safe place for Riley and her other, like, middle school age friends to, like, hang out and do homework together, like, safely. Like, it's, like, a place for them to go and hang out that's, like, not one of their houses, but, like, they're still in a safe environment. And, like, just be. She has a very close relationship with both of her kids because of school. Like, Cory and Riley are, like, seen together most often, and, like, Topanga and Augie are seen the most often, but, like, all of them are, like, a super close family, and they, like, welcome all of their kids, like, friends in, and, like, whoever else, like, is coming by. Their relationship continues to have a very profound impact on their children. Augie has a childhood relationship with their downstairs neighbor Ava and is convinced that you should stay with your first love, just as Cory and Topanga did. Riley's also affected by the idea of Cory and Topanga and worries that, like, any love interest that she has will never measure up to their, like, example of 2 people who are just so in love with each other. I'm gonna spoil the end of Girl Meets World. Just heads up. In the final 2 episodes of Girl Meets World, Topanga is once again faced with a career decision which will require moving their family. She's offered a full partner position at her law firm, but she would be in charge of the London office, so they'd have to move to another continent.
Wow.
Many of her family's relatives and friends come to help Topanga make the decision, including Cory's family, their teachers, Mr. Feeney and Mr. Turner, Sean, both actresses who played Cory's sister Morgan as Morgan because reasons.
Yes.
Every time I watch this, I'm still confused why they made that choice, but I kind of love it. It's like a total...
Funny.
Yeah. The fourth wall didn't matter anymore. It's fine.
No.
So Topanga decides that she doesn't want to uproot her family this time, and that she loves running Topanga's, and, you know, the whole family has their own lives in New York. Now Cory's a high school teacher because their children moved to high school and Cory needs to go where they go. That's a running gag in the world of Boy Meets World. Mr. Feeney did it with them. Cory's doing it with their kids. So she says maybe she'll run the firm's New York office someday, but it's not worth like giving up her bakery and her family's lives to run the London office right now. And the show like then ends, and as far as we know, Cory and Topanga are living out their lives perfectly happy together, being slightly wacky and over the top.
Yeah.
Riley was born in December of 2001, so she'd be done high school now and probably in college. I'm just assuming that, you know, someone whose parents are a teacher and a lawyer would probably pursue higher education. That's just how these statistically things end up going. If your parents both went to college, you're more likely to go to college. Augie was born in like approximately 2009 or so he'd be like in like middle school. That doesn't actually, I don't know if that tracks age-wise, but Cory's probably still teaching, and Topanga probably is a partner now. It's been a few more years, and she's amazing, and that's what I want to believe. And until someone at Disney makes something that tells me otherwise, I'm just going to choose to believe that they're living really happy lives still.
Absolutely. I support.
They're just adorable and so cute, and I love them.
Awesome. Good job. That's great. Yo, had some good ones this episode.
Yeah.
For real.
So our ender segments, did everybody do a love it or lose it?
Yes, we did.
So my love it is all the romantic gestures and like beautiful speeches, of course, between Jack and Rebecca, especially Jack to Rebecca. And my lose it is sometimes Jack does things like behind Rebecca's back. I just find that really like, it's a harsh contrast to like how much love he has for her. And then he like goes behind her back and either drinks or teaches Randall to box, did that behind her back. I don't like that part of Jack's character when he makes those decisions, thinking
just talk
that
to your wife.
Like, just talk. Yeah. It's a supernatural thing. Just like talk to your person. Yeah, but that's my love it or lose it.
I love that.
That's great.
Second that. My love it is probably like how goofy they both are. Like Topanga becomes a lot less goofy as they age, but every once in a while she's still like goofy, and like she started out as the really goofy one, and like now that they're adults, she's become the more like conforming one, and Cory's more goofy.
Yeah.
But they're just like totally just like adapting to each other's lives, and you know, like they've just like really built a life together as partners, and I love it so much for them. My lose it, I don't know if I have a lose it.
That's fair.
It might be the lost years.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were little kids, though. It's just like a thing that kids do, and like that's really society's fault that boys and girls are discouraged from being friends, and like told that it's gross to like girls when you're like when you're a little boy. Honestly.
Yeah, and the like stereotype of like, oh, he's being mean to you because he likes you.
No, it's because Eric sucks.
Yeah.
I love Eric, honestly. Eric is one of my favorite characters.
Me too.
Eric turns into Eric turns out goofier than all of them combined. But like his character started out as the cool older brother, and it makes sense that like Eric was also a little kid. He's not that much older than Cory, and he was like, girls are gross. Why are you friends with a girl?
Ew, yuck.
And Cory's like, oh well, I have to impress my big brother.
Yeah.
If Eric says it's gross, it must be gross. What's Eric? No, Eric's like 8.
Yeah.
So my love it is like the jokes that are constantly exchanged between Holt and Kevin, and like the genuine love that you can like see between the characters. And my lose it is just the lack of content, because they're not a main focus of the show, and I would love some more content.
As you were saying your love it, I was trying to like think of what you could possibly even say as a lose it for
I know.
Kevin and Raymond, honestly, and I was like, nothing. There's nothing.
I literally have nothing written. I was just like,
the fact that there isn't more of them.
Yeah, just give us more.
Just more.
Awesome. Oh, so I guess that we're skipping randomized rankings this week. Doesn't really fit with our situation. What about I would name my kid that? Baby names. I didn't do any for mine. I don't know. I just found it hard because This Is Us is just so like
complete.
Exactly. That's the good word. That's what I mean. It's complete. It's
they
so
had
complete.
3 kids in one go. And technically 4 kids in one go.
Exactly. So it's just like, how could I even try to even influence it at all. Like, pretend like I could create a name or a situation where they would have had another kid. Yeah, it's just, I don't have any. That's what I'm trying to say.
Moira, do you have any?
No, because my ship specifically, like, chose not to have children and don't have children other than their squad and their dog Cheddar.
Yes.
Aww.
Yeah.
They're a dog couple. Yeah, their dog's name is Cheddar, and they take Cheddar's care very seriously.
Absolutely.
Good.
It's so cute. And they're the parents of the detective squad.
Yep.
So
Yep.
those are their children.
They're the dads.
Yeah.
I had a hard time as well. So in Boy Meets World, there's an episode with a flash forward where Topanga and Cory, had a daughter, but her name was Beverly, not Riley. Everybody thought that Riley's name was going to be Beverly before Girl Meets World actually started, because that was the name that we were given in Boy Meets World. So that was apparently on the table. Riley and August are just such great names. Augie's name was apparently supposed to be either Norman or Louis, but then the actor's name is August, and I guess either they liked it or I don't know. He was pretty young when the show started. Maybe they just wanted to make things easier for him.
Yeah.
But anyway, they ended up changing the character's name to Augie, and I love that for them. But anyway, apparently Norman or Louis were on the list. I think George or Sean for either like Mr. Feeney or Sean. I'd be shocked if Augie's middle name. We actually don't know Augie's middle name. Augie thinks his middle name is Doggy. He thinks his name is Augie Doggy Matthews, but I'd be shocked if his actual middle name isn't Sean.
Yeah, that would be.
I can almost guarantee that it's Sean. I think maybe Amy for a girl if they had another daughter.
Yeah.
After Cory's mom, like they're very close with Cory's family, so I think that would be it. Definitely Sean, 100%. Sean is like the most important person in Cory's life that isn't living in his house right now.
Yeah.
It's like Topanga and the kids and then Sean.
Yeah.
Maybe Sean and then the kids, honestly.
Yeah. Sean's very high up.
Yeah, Sean and Cory are like soulmates, honestly. Like Topanga and Cory are soulmates, but like Cory and Sean are also soulmates.
Yeah.
If there was ever a reason for TV to have got by the time that they were adults, this show was on Disney Channel, so it never would have happened. But if there was ever a reason to have a throuple on a TV show,
if it was going to be a polyamorous couple, it's definitely needed to be those three.
It's a hinge relationship, and Cory's the hinge. Because Cory and Sean are involved. They love each other so much, and they're like family. Cory's parents literally think of Sean as like another son. They have 4 kids, but really they have 5.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love the episodes about love.
Same. Just gets you in a good mood. So, any last recommendations or thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, this was so good. I loved this all.
Yes, this was really a really fun one for sure.
Nothing else required.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's been our episode for the week. You've been listening to the Series of Opinions podcast. Let us know what you thought about this week's episode and our ships. Leave us a review, really does help, or get in touch with us on any of our social medias. Our email is seriesofopinionspod@gmail.com. We are at Series of Opinions Pod on Tumblr and Instagram, and at Series of Opinion with no S on Twitter. You can find me at Miss Faith Ann across everything, and at Faith Ann Art for all of my art.
And you can find me at Moira_Frisk on everything.
And you can find me at Life Misses of KJ across the board.
Thanks so much for listening, and tune in next week when we talk about some awesome, badass women.
I'm so excited for next week. This episode was written, produced, and recorded by us. It was edited by Editing Moira and Editing KJ. And our logo was created by Faith Ebert.
Bye!
Bye!